Thank you so much, everyone. Wow, what a hard act to follow after Cynthia Carrion. Um, she makes Olympics sexy. I make farming sexy. So I don't know if all of you here are fan of eating, or all of you here are really, interested in agriculture. I'll tell you a little bit of my story, but thank you, Richard and Rebecca, for actually inviting me, and of course, KMC Solutions for giving me an award last year for the Asia CEO Woman of the Year award. So I'm Cherrie. I've been in agriculture for so many years, around 29 years. I started teaching farmers at the age of 12 in sugarcane farm. Actually, I was rushing to come here this morning because I was just in SMX pitching for a project on how to improve sugarcane varieties in Negros Occidental to really increase and to help the smallholder farmers, millions of them, to actually survive climate change. So I'm Cherrie. This picture was actually from a book. They started writing about my story, and that's my mom here. If Carlos Yulo has a champion, an Olympic maker, I have my mom with me. My mom is my strong believer, and I'm so happy to have her in my life. It's because at a very young age, she was the one who really instilled in me the power of passion, the power of purpose, and really choosing to really pursue what I love to do. I'm the youngest of 5. I lost my dad when I was 3. I grew up in a sugarcane farm in Negros Occidental. I can plant sugar, but I never used sugar in my life since I was 15 years old. It's my little activism. That's why when I spoke today in an event in front of 500 people, I said, wow, pitching to you my homecoming that I never use sugar because I feel it's bitter. It's not sweet at all. So I don't use sugar since I was 15. I left home. It's because growing up in the sugarcane farm, when my dad died at 3, we lost everything. We lost our business. My mom is a super single mom. Who are the single mothers here? Please raise your hand. I adore you. My goodness. I love you so much. And so my mom, because I was 3, my eldest brother was 10, we had no money. We lost everything because for a year my dad was in the hospital, being sick. We lost all the businesses. We really ground zero. So what happened when I was 11, my mom put me in a scholarship center. And that scholarship center, my mom said like, okay, you need to be there. It's because you need to be the class valedictorian in elementary, and then you need to be a class valedictorian in high school so that you can get a scholarship in college. Because when you're a class valedictorian, basically you get 100% free scholarship, to enter university. And then my mom said, you can be whoever you want to be. And then here I was there in a scholarship center on a weekend. And the first introduction was, okay, these are the things you need to learn. You need to learn how to crochet, to clean the house, to iron the clothes, to wash, everything domestication, everything like home economics. And then the trainer said, it's because you are from the sugarcane farm. It seems there's no further future for you. If there is, and you can go to school, then you can be a maid of the hacienderos. And it's not a problem to be a maid, right? It's a decent job, and it's an admirable job. But I feel she saw me very little that I could only reach that much while my mom saw me a bigger one. I could achieve something more, something great. I went home. I cried. I told my mom, I'm not going back to the scholarship center. My mom said, you need to go because we don't have money to send you to school. And then my mom said, it's okay, you will learn how to wash dishes, which you already learned from home, but at least in the scholarship center, they teach you how to bake, how to cross-stitch, how to crochet, how to do other stuff, and also farming. Just go back next weekend. The next weekend, I went back. I saw a book. It's called Biointensive Gardening. It's called Big. It's colored green. I actually researched for the author. He's still alive, and we might rewrite the book for children's book in the coming years. He's now in his 80s, and the book says if you're poor, 100% of your income goes to food. 70% rice, 30% ulam. And the book says the ulam is you need to plant the vegetables outside your house if you live in a sugarcane farm. And then when you boil your rice or you cook your rice, you tap the vegetable in there. And then they're all cooked. You get ginamos because we're Ilonggo. Everyone is smiling. You get ginamos, and then you put vinegar, and that's a meal. That's a complete meal. For an 11 years old, I said, oh my goodness, this is such a perfect solution to poverty of every person around me in the sugarcane farm. And every woman who is suffering that my mom is actually helping. Hence this picture. This picture, every Sunday, my mom would ask us what to eat. But we cannot start lunch without giving food to our neighbors. Me and my sister would always give food to our neighbors. When we finish, we come back at home and then we eat lunch. And my mom would always remind me, it is not enough to be successful. You should also be relevant. I was really young. My mom asked me to give soup of munggo to our neighbor, and then I just like super maldita. Nagula ako. My mom dragged me, and then where it was really scolding me, and then he said, can you please show your hand to me? And then you try to measure the shortest distance in life. And I said, shortest distance in life? This is in very, very deep Ilonggo. And my mom said, with your hand, you try to measure the distance from your brain to your heart. Repeat it. So I was measuring it, and I had no idea why I was measuring the distance of my brain to my heart. And then my mom said, no matter how successful you are in the future, if you are not doing something impactful, significant, and changing others together with you and uplifting lives of others, forget about your existence. My mom said, I want a daughter who will know that a heart is not only for beating, but it's also for thinking. You connect your heart and your brain, and that's the most powerful. It means you'll always do something that is with pure meaning, with good intention, and it's always uplifting and empowering. And imagine, thank you so much, I was 6 years old at the time. And it really hit the core. I was always sharing it. I went back to the scholarship center. I shared it to my patron in the scholarship center. And then I said, can I borrow the book I read last weekend? It's because I want to teach farmers who are drinking vino colafo tuba in sari-sari stores on a weekend, or they go to Sabungan because Negros is known for sabong. And I started teaching farmers at 12, together with my sister. Whatever I learned from the book and whatever I learned from the scholarship center, I teach the farmers. And what happened, when I was graduating in high school, I did not finish my valedictory address that my principal finished my speech in front of the crowd because I was crying. A truckloads of farmers arrived. Yung sako, dinugtong-dugdog nila. Sinulatan nila ng uling. Congratulations, our teachers. I was supposed to be a lawyer and a doctor and enrolled in a big university. I left home. I took a bus. I got a scholarship in the province. I took a bus. I went to Leyte. So I crossed Cebu. I took a bus to San Carlos, Negros Occidental. I took a Roro from San Carlos to Toledo, Cebu. Took another 12 hours of bus from Toledo, Cebu to Cebu City because it was rough road at the time in 2006. And then took an overnight boat to Leyte. So I studied in Visayas State University, which is a prominent school and the most eco-friendly school for agriculture and marine biology. So I studied agriculture and agricultural economics. So from that very, small story of people always look down on you, that this is your potential. My mom saw me bigger than anybody else. And I get emotional from that, no? Now, aside from Agrea, I'm a CEO and a founder of Agrea. It's a company. We work with 37,000 smallholder farmers in the Philippines. We supply to Sodexo and most BPO industries, digital tech in the Philippines. You have cafeteria. You may see our vegetables there, and you may eat our vegetables if you work in these places. So I'm also a United Nations high-level ambassador for food security and nutrition. I handle 65 countries and 4 Indian states. See how my mom's dream, right? Um, I get emotional. It's because I could have been in the sugarcane farm. Until now, some of my friends are still there. I'm the ninang of all their children. I have 41 inaanaks. Because of my mom who believed in me, I got out from just giving birth and have 6 children at the age of 36. Now I'm like, serving globally. I'm very proud of this. It's because it's my mother. And that one in the picture, these are my mentors. These are the ancestors of President Obama. I stayed with them in Kenya every time I go to Kenya because I handle 33 countries in Africa. So imagine the world is actually not so tiny because of my mom's dream. My world becomes so big. I got out from the sugarcane farm, and I'm going back actually to help more. Oh, so it seems not working. So I founded this company. It's called Agrea. It's actually, an enterprise that's focusing on changing the landscape of agriculture in the Philippines. So if you see, it's cultivation of human beings. Why would you even cultivate human beings? Because agriculture in the Philippines and all over the world, that's why we have so much hunger. In the Philippines, there are 95 children dying every single day without reaching 5 years old because of immense malnutrition. And these are the things we're fighting for. And my company is into cultivation of human beings because we always feel that agriculture is measured on yield of crops, how much hectares of rice field we planted, how much kavans of rice we harvested. We never really ask what happened to the rice farmers. Do they have food on their table? Are their children in school? Do they have roof on their head when there's typhoon? We never ask that. So in my company, we always make sure that there's an ecology of dignity. It's very profound, very deep words, but we try to make sure that this ecology of dignity is actually measured from the social impact we do to the lives of the farmers, to the supply chain, and to our consumers. So if you work in some BPO industries or tech giants and you see a lot of vegetables there, how we're also changing the landscape in BPO industries cafeteria, that's actually what we do in our company. So every day we feed 60,000 people daily together with Sodexo. And that's a lot of Filipino mouths to feed. And why is that so? Because I'm such a strong believer that if we feed our Filipinos with our own produce from our own land, it's the most nutritious, the most satisfying, and the most justice we can give to our own people. Am I right, Cinch? So it's because most of the time, we prefer to import than to produce our own. So in our company, like for example, in our partnership with Sodexo, we plant everything now in the Philippines. Before, they used to import a lot. Now, every single vegetables we plant, except fruits that we cannot grow in the Philippines, like apples and pears, because we import that. But all the other vegetables, we work back on the ground. And we measure all the impact, the carbon footprint of what we do. Hence, Sodexo won the Sustainability Enterprise last year in France and globally. So this is our work in Agrea. We work a lot in the Philippines. It's about, creating a vision of one island economy. So we work in different islands in the Philippines. 2 days ago, I just arrived in Siargao. I was in Batanes last week. I was in Bacolod the other week. I will be in Cebu next week. It's because we work in different islands. Why? It's because Manila, it's so traffic. It's so congested. We have 15 million people in Manila. When you go to the countryside, you feel like Manila is a savior of opportunity and will give you all the opportunity. Wrong. We need to bring back people in the countryside because opportunities is in our land, is in our countryside. So what we have been doing in the company about the zero hunger, zero insufficiency, and zero weight is actually with this. We teach farmers how to dream. When you enter our farm school, I started opening a farm school in 2017. In our farm school, it's so different. When you enter our farm school, you are not taught how to plant seeds for 3 days until you learn what's your dream. Because most of our students, the farmers and fishers, they're so poor. They call them, isang kahig, isang tuka. If you're isang kahig, isang tuka, there's no time to think. There's no time to even plan your life because you're so busy what's for the next meal. So in our farm school, our farmers are having a meditation practice. I teach them breathing exercise. I personally teach them gratefulness exercise. Sometimes when I ask the farmers, are you poor? Are you rich? Very, 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 very poor, ma'am. Talaga namang saksak sa hirap. Okay, close your eyes. I have several questions. Are you an agrarian reform beneficiary? Do you have a hectare of land? Raise your hand. How many pigs you have? How many coconut trees do you have? Do you have a vegetable patch? Do you have chicken running around? And after several questions, they open their eyes. Okay, tell me what you had when you're closing your eyes, your answers to my question. And then he said, I have all this. Okay, are you rich or are you poor? His challenge, he said, I'm rich, but no one asked me to appreciate what I have, what God have given me until your farm school. So sometimes also, Filipino farmers, and even us Filipinos, we're so tired to dream. Look at what's happening in our country now. I don't want to be political. But we're so tired to dream. We put our dreams to someone else. It's because we've been overpromised with false hopes. So in our farm school, we teach the farmers basic. What's your dream for your sarili, yourself, your family, your community, your province, and your country? You yourself is a biggest solution of the poverty and the problems of this country. You should not look for solutions somewhere else. So in everything that we do, we always focus on women on the supply chain. It's because I grew up on a sugarcane farm where I really saw women being victims of domestic violence. When there's no food at home, natatapon yung kaldero, natatamaan si nanay. Right? May bukol si nanay kasi walang laman yung kaldero. Unfortunately, women in the Philippines are considered as extra farmhands. When agrarian reform happened, their names are not even in the land title of lands. It's only their husband. So when you go to financial institutions, they're not accepted because you bring here a land title and your name is not here, it's your husband's name, and then you cannot borrow money because your collateral is not enough. You need to ask permission from your husband. They go home, the husband says no because baka mawala yung lupa natin. It's too risky, but women are risk takers, right? So in 2017, my company helped in revising the Magna Carta for women in agriculture to put the names of the women on land titles. So now it's happening. To put the women on training platforms of the government, now it's happening. To put the women in the financial institutions, now it's happening. Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, it's making it happen. So what we're trying to do is really empowering these women. This is in our farm school in Marinduque. We also have a farm school in Siargao. We're opening 3 more farm schools in Negros Occidental and Mindanao this year. So we have more than 3,000 graduates in our farm school. This is run by my nonprofit. I have an Agria Foundation. I put up 2 years after I put up my company because I feel like there's so much in my heart I need to put. But in business, some of my board members will not allow me to happen or else we're losing money, right? So I need to put up a foundation. Pag mga babae, maparaan. Kailangan talaga may paraan. So I put up a foundation where all my hard work is there. And one of our work, Yes, beggar. You become a professional beggar. To become a professional beggar in the foundation. But sometimes, in everything that we do, there's no money. So the companies still need to put the money to make the proof of concept and make it happen. So in our farm school, we have a farm school in front of the beach in Marinduque. And it's so beautiful. It's so relaxed. You can really dream. You can reset with nature. You can think about your life as a farmer. This is in Siargao Island. We also have a farm school in Siargao Island. I was just there because we have now 300 women, farmers and fishers. 20 barangays in Del Carmen, 4 barangays taking care of the mangroves. 60 women leaders are taking care of 4,800 hectares of mangrove, the second largest mangrove in Southeast Asia. So our women fishers are taking care of that. And I want you to meet them to eat their freshest lobsters, and a lot of fresh crabs and just so good. So I gained so much weight every time I go to our farming communities. So these are also our women in Victoria City in Negros Occidental. We have 300 farmers and fishers in Negros Occidental. We actually work with the Dutch embassy to make this happen, and United Nations Women. And another thing that we're actually trying to do is not only to empower these women to learn about sustainable agriculture, they are entrepreneurs. Imagine 300 micro-entrepreneurs making profit every single day. So we work with mayors, with governors, and also with embassies. And now United Nations Women made our project as an Asia-Pacific champion for women economic empowerment. Because I feel as an entrepreneur, economic empowerment is the most empowering for a woman. You don't need to ask permission from your husband, to get money to buy something else. If you have money, you have the means, you have the decision-making power. And last picture, I can put so many pictures of our women, but lastly, in Siargao, we just launched our Women's Center. This Women's Center, look at the Sustainable Development Goals. In all our Women's Centers, we're building all over the Philippines. We translate the SDGs into their language. So this is in Siargao noon, right? Because we need to localize it. They need to understand it. I'm a UN ambassador, but sometimes I don't even understand what I'm telling. More so, people starving and hungry. No one will listen to you when they're starving and hungry. So we're localizing it. And this Women's Center, women are actually taught how to cook now with several restaurants in Siargao. We're connected to 186 restaurants and hotels in Siargao. And also another one is we have a legal clinic. Because most women sometimes, when we ask for a training, like yesterday, they just finished their entrepreneurial mindset training. Sometimes they have bukol, they have pasa. And I said, why do you have bukol and pasa? Oh, binugbog ako ng asawa ko. So now we have legal clinic. We're working with some lawyers. We have volunteer lawyers from Rotary Club. These are a group of women lawyers volunteering to help our women for legal clinic. So when they are abused, they can go for a free doctor. And a lot of these women, we call it para sa badji. Badji in Siargao is women. So para sa women and girls. So this is the last of my slide. I know there's a plenary, but most things except agriculture can wait. And people are asking why I'm in agriculture. It's because feeding people is business. It's because agriculture is not only drudgery with kalabaw and putikan. Everybody is getting the pain when the price of rice is expensive, right? So agriculture is the most basic, and your food is your umbilical cord to Mother Earth. So if you want to connect to environmental advocacy, it's also the choice of where we get our food. But for us in Agrea, we always make sure that our food we serve in the Philippines and our work we work with Sodexo are all coming from our Filipino farmers and coming from our own Filipino land, nowhere else. Thank you.